I'd like to call our meeting to order. And I see Vicky Weatherall and Juliana Barrett, Sue and Tom Harrington, and Ken Feathers present. And Jennifer Kaufman representing staff. We have a request to add an item to our agenda. Did people receive Jennifer Kaufman's email from the last Green Valley about writing a letter in support of the Forestry Legacy application? That should be added to our agenda under new business as item, I guess, would have to be 1. I'll make the motion if somebody will second it.
I'll second.
Okay. Anyone opposed? Okay, so we have an item 5.1. Okay, that brings us to the minutes from July 20th. Does anybody have any substantial corrections? And
I'm going to leave the
Motion.
meeting and try to get back in because it just keeps kicking out on me.
okay, so noted.
I'll go upstairs, see if-
Jennifer will have to watch for your return. I had to fix my microphone for the Polonaise pathway, and I didn't get omitted back into the meeting when I got it straightened out. I had to fix it and Zoom hung up on me. Okay, motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I move we accept the minutes of the July 20th meeting.
A second.
I
Okay,
second it.
okay, thank you, Juliana. Okay.
I'm not sure
Well,
I can because I wrote them.
Yeah. Anybody opposed to accepting them? Okay, that brings us to old business because I don't see anyone from the public that might want to address us. So park updates and trail monitoring. I got out and looked at, walked all the trails, something I haven't done in quite a while in the Moss Sanctuary. Did know one spot I should go out with a bow saw and haven't stopped long enough to get out there because it's kind of wet. And I've had other things to do. And I think that we had one thing at Simpson Wood. And it's really not storm related, but where Monty built his Eagle Project Bridge, what I think of as the North Ridge, and you leave the parking lot and turn to the left. There's the old sections of bridge. Realize the wet areas that were there, they could be moved over and used as a boardwalk to approach the north end of the bridge, or as you leave the bridge, and save some erosion and look a little better than having something set in the stream.
Yeah, all right, I'll talk to public. Could you send me an email to that effect, Jim?
Yeah,
And like mark it on the map, and then I'll forward that on to Public Works.
yeah. I think those things are designed to be moved a couple of people.
Okay,
so-
we came back in, but it still isn't working very well.
Oh,
Still have no pictures and very little sound.
Oh,
We can hear you well, Sue.
Yeah.
So it's working at
It's
this
good.
end.
Is your volume on your computer turned down? Yeah, no. Anybody else have anything to report on any of the walks, the parcels?
I didn't get out yet.
Your work looked incredible. It's really, really well used, given how worn the trail is, and there were no issues.
Yeah, that's what's happened. I checked with John, who lives near Denham Town Forest. And he did indicate there was one tree down, but people have built a bypass treadway around it, so it's not really a concern.
It would be, if you have issues, I mean, it's most helpful if I get an email. That way I can kind of keep track of everything. And then if you just mark any issue on the map, I can just forward it right on to Public Works and they can add it to their list.
I did send you an email about River Park.
Yes,
And it's in pretty good shape. It was flooded. And there is erosion on the approach to the launch, which is not surprising.
yeah.
And the trails in Lynch Landing are fine, except the wetlands are growing in beyond the little footbridge, the troll bridge, which happens all the time. Do you know if the Depot campus kids are going to be maintaining those trails?
They do. And Helen Clark, who's now living in Tim Quinn's house, is very good about letting me know. So I can send an email to Bill Green, who is the director over at the Depot campus, and have him do a look. The River Park, I will go take a look at that, the launch. Is the erosion, it's probably something we should take care of sooner so it doesn't get worse.
Probably. It's passable, but I mean, there is a gully about 6 inches deep, but you can sort of maneuver around it. But it certainly is going to get bigger. There's no question about it. And I was wondering if the crew might be working on Plains Road. And if they had gravel to work on that road, maybe they could just take care of that driveway at the same time.
Anything else on the park monitoring? Okay, that brings us to 4.2 Last Green Valley grant opportunity.
So Vicki and I worked on a list, and we just went through the map of the town, and we just highlighted lots of large parcels, and then we got the GIS data and addresses, and now Vicki is kind of working through that list. And then we will send a mailer out with the press release from the Last Green Valley, encouraging people to apply. So I think we have that under control. Anything that I'm forgetting, Vicki?
No, I think, it's on track, as they say.
Yeah. Good cooperative effort between me and Vicki, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I did notice from Connecticut Land Conservation Council an email talking about state deep trail grants. And the thought occurred to me, although I don't think we have time to put it together, would be some type of crossing of one 5 to connect the Indian Trail in Schoolhouse Brook over to the Southworth property. You know, in a little more formal way, although I think most people could figure out how to get from one to the other.
You know, I've been trying to think about a project for that, and maybe we should add that to the agenda, actually, so it's a formal item to talk about the Rec Trails program, because that was, maybe we should talk about that under new business to make it more organized.
Okay. We have a motion to add trails to our agenda.
So move.
Second.
I second.
Okay, anybody opposed? That would be item 5.2.
Was you, Vicky, who seconded?
Yes.
Okay.
And so that brings us to the fall park programs. And I have to check my calendar because I haven't really studied October yet, but Charlotte and I are leading the Simpson Woods Loop hike. And I know of at least one person that's interested in going, John DeWolf.
I will, you're supposed to pre-register for those, so I'll pre-print
Yeah.
you a registration. And I know, so Sue and Tom have 3 walks coming up. Then you have one. I've got this man, Henry Fry, who's works with Brian Conley, who's a botanist. He's going to do native plants, the Moss Sanctuary. This weekend, we've got Bats of the Moss Sanctuary. With Laura Cisneros. We did have a paddle that we had to cancel because we got that grant to do a management plan for the invasives at Eagleville Lake. But the Deep can't get the contracts out. I'm not quite sure what's happening. I think they're just in a period of big transition. So anyways, we canceled that because it was part of that grant, and we'll do it next year. But we have something going on almost every month. In fact, I had sent that email out about Bats of the Moss Sanctuary, and last I looked this morning, we still had 7 spots, and it's generally a pretty popular one, but it may not have gotten out soon enough. The word may not have gotten out soon enough. So spread the word, have them register, and I will be getting Walktober stuff. Sue and Tom, have you gotten any Walktober t-shirts or?
Looks like they're frozen.
I know, they keep freezing in and out. They freeze and then they come back and then they freeze again. It's frustrating. Anyways, I'll work with Sue and Tom on their events and the rosters, and they know how to do this like the back of their hand, so they're all pros.
Yep.
And as the date comes up, Jim, we'll touch base about the.
Yeah.
I apologize, but it just keeps kicking out. And we have very, very little sound. We can't hear very much of what anybody is saying. So I think that we're just going to get out and I'll talk.
It's gone again.
You just want to dial in on your phone? So, you can dial in by just using your phone with the numbers that are,
They're on
in
the
the
agenda.
email. Yeah.
And they're also in the email that Sandy sent earlier today. I think that's probably what they're doing.
Okay. Anything else on the fall stuff?
That's all, but this, the next agenda item is what we really need to talk about because that content's due pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah, the thought, winter and spring park programs, something that around in my mind is trying to get a series of walks in each one of the major parks, Merrill Meadow, Schoolhouse Brook. We've done one and we keep doing the one in Sim Woods. I don't know whether South Wart would be worth doing something in around the loop there or not, probably. I haven't walked that loop in quite a while, so I don't know what kind of shape it's in.
I went and looked at the approach, and I do think it's pretty well used by mountain bikers. So I think the trails are pretty clear. One issue there, which is okay, I think, is we don't have a sign. And the town is doing a sign master plan. So I'm waiting to order any new signs until that is done. So that I have guidelines on, the materials, and everything will be consistent throughout town and every time we order a new park sign. So so we don't have a sign for a couple of those, including Shelter Falls. That sign was stolen a couple of weeks ago, that big park sign. So if anyone sees it, I can't imagine where it's hiding, but
In a dorm room somewhere. Probably.
yeah.
Ask the Yukon fire marshals to keep an eye out for it when they inspect rooms.
Yeah, true. I filed a police report. So yeah, anyways. But yeah, anyone who wants to lead a walk is always welcome. Sue and Tom, do a great job. You and Charlotte have been doing a great job. I can always count on like Laura Cisneros for bats. She likes to do that program. Last winter, John Hankins led, or it didn't run. We didn't get enough participants, but he signed up to do a snowshoeing walk or a snowshoe at Sawmill Brook Preserve in Wolf Rock. And the community center now has snowshoes that you can, I think, rent for a very nominal fee. So I'm trying to work with the community center to do things that will help cross-market the community center and other Parks and Rec programs with the parks. So I was thinking of working with John to do a snowshoe, and then Sue and Tom often do a winter tracking event, and combining that with maybe like the winter festival somewhere. So I'll coordinate that with them. The community center has some winter program. I don't even know what it is.
Right, I remember. And
Yeah.
can't remember what it is.
And then it's just the winter content that's due. We don't generally do too many events.
Yeah.
But if you can think of anything else, I'm happy to. I was going to reach out to Will Wimet, who's on the Conservation Commission, and he does geomorphology, and he's offered to do a walk, but his wife had a baby last year, and so they're a little bit. They have their hand, and they have two other little ones. They have their hands full, but he did promise me that at some point he would do a walk. As same with Chad Rittenhouse. So I'll reach out to those two. But happy to reach out to anyone that you can think of, or creative ideas, or.
Yeah, I think a geology walk when there is, when you can see in the woods, when there are no leaves,
Yeah.
is the most effective. So it could be a winter walk, or a walk before May, if it was in the spring calendar, because you can see the landforms so much more clearly if you don't have leaves hiding them. And I was even thinking of southward as being an interesting one in terms of geology.
Mhm.
Just-
Yeah. To kind of do that, you'd have to walk into Mansfield Hollow Park, but
It's okay, I
I
think.
would think,
Yeah.
but that would be his choice,
Right,
you know, where to do it. Even just along the Fenton, there's some real interesting stuff there.
right.
There's some
So-
good, there's some good geology in Mount Hope too, with some of the glacial features.
Yeah,
So I'll work with Will. So I'm planning, my preliminary thoughts were to do, see if I could convince Will to do, or maybe I could even get Peter Drzwicki. He's only got one kid at home now. I can maybe talk with him, or Will, and then a snowshoe, and then I'll talk with Sue and Tom, and hopefully they're willing to do a winter tracking event.
I don't know, having dealt with Max a couple of times, I'd count him as two.
Yeah, no, I know Max, Peter's son. So that's that.
Okay. That brings us down to pollinator pathways. When I went to fix my microphone, I hung up, so I didn't know about what happened for the first few minutes of the meeting.
I mean, the way I have not been able to kind of get too involved with that, but Ginny and I talk about it. And I think once they get that website up, we're just going to have to start putting some of the parks on that map, and making sure that the parks meet those criteria, and then signage. And I think that's all I have the bandwidth to assist with. And then we can, I think once we get that map going and the website up, then we're kind of making the pathway, and then we kind of just take it from there. We can run some educational programs. We can, start doing a little bit more outreach, but that was my thought. Any other?
The one thought I had was either as some of us a subgroup or at a meeting, go down the list of all the town open space and see what might be suitable to designate.
Now, they've got criteria that they're working on. So it would just be a matter of going through that criteria. And I mean, it's like certain parts, like Porter Meadow, we mow it once a year. It seems like that might work. Old Spring Hill Field, Merrill Meadow, kind of, let's start. We don't have to identify every single one right away. Let's just start with a few and get them on the map, and then just start adding them. Like, we'll pick away at them.
Yeah, because one of the thrusts of the thing, the pathway part, is looking for corridors and connections. And then once we identify something, have people, in the area start to connect their properties in,
Right, and it will be sort of promoting it. So.
That brings us to new business. This letter, did people get the email that Jennifer forwarded out about a letter of support for the preservation of the property? Some of us discussed them in our gathering time very briefly.
So I think the letter of support, my thought is, I wanted to make you aware of this project, what's happening with the Forest Legacy. There's 4 properties that are going forward in Mansfield, or 5 properties actually, I think. And so I don't want to make them too public, because I don't want to, I think that even though Bill said it's okay to talk about these in public session, I'm thinking that maybe I go to Ryan and ask him to write a letter of support on behalf of the town. Does that so maybe it's a motion saying you strongly encourage the town manager to support this project if you.
Yeah,
would
to
want.
express it. I'm envisioning a motion, something, let me see, that the committee strongly recommends the town manager that he express the town's support with the Last Green Valley preservation as outlined in the email of what, today, was it?
No, it was actually last week.
Yes. The fifth. Okay.
Or my email.
Application for forest legacy funding, the Last Green Valley Forest Legacy Project. To support that project. And I don't know whether planning and zoning should weigh in that it's consistent with the plan of development or anything.
No, that would be more if the town's acquiring it, would have to have that 824 referral. I think it will, the goal right now is to get USDA is, I think they're writing it to understand that the towns are supportive of this. And I think I'll work with Bill, but I think the town manager will work.
Do I have a second for my motion?
I second it.
Okay. Anybody opposed? And asking Jennifer to speak with the town manager.
Well, let me read the motion that I think.
And clean up my wording because I was thinking out loud.
Well, I from what I heard and wrote down, it says the committee strongly encourages the town manager to express support for the Last Green Valley Forest Legacy Project to seek federal funding for property acquisition.
But it's not property acquisition.
Okay, I would change the acquisition to preservation.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is nicely open-ended.
Jennifer, do we still have a quorum with Sue and
Yes, I believe I have 4 as a quorum for you.
okay.
Although we never formally seated Julia, but we did accept a second from her, so I guess that counts. Okay, anyone opposed? Okay, and that brings us to the other item on the recreational trails.
So yeah, I've been looking at that grant and trying to think of a project that could rank it highly enough to get funded. The Southworth Preserve, that would be, so we would have to involve, it would be Yukon and then the Hollow, right?
Yeah, the Mansfield Hollow Park, and then State Highway would have to be involved, and we would need at least some kind of rough cost estimate, I would think, for the grant.
Right. So, and basically what we're doing is it's getting some sort of crosswalk or some sort of like.
Yeah, that's what, I'm thinking the ideal thing would be something like, connects to Liberty Bank from the 195 side. Amongst other things it would do would be alert, cause people to wonder why that's there. And then of course with signage, they could catch on. And
So
the
that-
long shot.
That won't happen by November 1st because if you try to get state DOT involved. So let me talk to Derek Delay to see how we can start getting this moving, and what we need in terms of, because starting off we just really need a sign, And then, but then we have to make it safe to cross 195. And then
Yeah.
we need maps, and, you know, we need to make people aware that there is,
Yeah.
and frankly, there is not a trail there right now with, that goes to the Yukon property. So we have to work with Yukon to see if they'll put in a trail.
Well, if you come down the Indian Trail, where Clover Mill comes out from
Yep.
Schoolhouse Brook Park, you know, that was the spot that I was kind of thinking of there. The
Right.
Newmont Trail crosses up by the church and the historic center, what we technically call the town hall.
I
So,
thought
yeah,
you
I,
were-
but I think we
I
went-
thought you were thinking about the Christmas tree farm.
yeah,
I mean, a connection through the Christmas tree farm at the bottom of Spring Hill.
yeah.
Because
Oh,
it's the
yeah.
old road that comes out of Schoolhouse Brook Park. And there could be a crossing
Oh,
there.
that's right. I didn't even forget
To-
about that
to
spot.
Christmas
Thank
tree
you.
farm.
Thank you, Vicky.
I thought that's what you were talking about.
No,
Yeah, me too.
I was thinking where the Indian Trail comes
Right.
out, but yeah, we've got that on, and I know that field was used by E.O. Smith, Voag. Is that Yukon property or Smith's property?
It's Yukon property. And I don't,
That would actually be better crossing because it would be a straight line.
yeah, that's the Pine Ridge Trail. I was thinking the same. I was thinking what Vicky was thinking, and
Right.
yeah. So the Pine Ridge Trail to that Yukon property through the Christmas tree area, and then
Yeah.
into, you know, Mansfield Hollow and Dodd Road somehow. I have to look at the
Yeah,
map.
that would actually be a better connection.
Yeah.
And the
So-
thought I've had a couple of times, it's not for tonight, but do we want to consider renaming the Indian Trail?
Yeah.
Probably. Um,
All right, so I guess I'm not sure that this is a rec trail grant, but it is something that I need to add to the list. And I can start by talking with Derek Delay and Yukon, and then pulling out a map to see how we make that trail connection now, once and for all, because we've been talking about this for a little while.
Yeah, is E.O. Smith, Voag still using that property?
I don't think so, judging from the condition of the trees. They're certainly not harvesting any Christmas trees.
Yeah,
They're completely
they
overgrown.
still do their sales, so.
Yeah, but they.
I know they had a fenced area down in back that had actually become almost a deer exclosure experiment.
Oh, that was E.O. Smith that did that? Or, okay. Well, regardless, I'll figure out with Yukon who owns that who's
Who's in control?
yeah, who's doing what on that property. I'm sure Yukon is still in control, but they might be letting EO do some stuff on it. The other thought that I had, but I don't, is doing this sort of bike ped trail, you know, master plan to kind of look at the connections and which trails would be good for hiking, which would be good for biking, to kind of do that whole master plan that we've been trying to do for years and years. But again, I'm not sure. It's the rec trail program doesn't, I don't know that it would get enough points. So I have to kind of think about that a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think that would rank too high.
No, but it's totally necessary. Something
We really need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not, I mean, it's not a, it's going to take some time, some mapping, some resources, and we don't have the staff capacity or we need some, it's a meaty project.
Is Bike Mansfield still active?
Yeah, but I think the thing with it is that we need to, Bike Mansfield is just one of many stakeholders. We're gonna have to get Joshua's Trust involved, the hiking community. There's the New England Mountain Bikers Association, because,
Oh,
there's,
you're thinking of an entire trail master plan. I like that idea.
Well,
yeah,
and I wonder whether that you might reach out to Deep and see whether, while it's not trail construction, whether there's a way to spin this as something that they would fund.
yeah. I might
And
give Lori a call.
yeah, and the other thing you might be able to do is it might be something that we could get some, if we had some funding, it might be something that we could get labor out of one of the rec departments at UConn as a senior project or something.
Hmm.
I was wondering if EO, if this might work for a senior project, or at least a piece of it.
Yeah.
Possibly.
We have all the mapping. We've GPSed and mapped all of our trails.
Yeah.
I do think we need to establish criteria so that we know what what is going to be suitable for hikers, what is going to be suitable for bikers. How do we make the two uses compatible, and where is it not compatible at all? I mean, I think there's a whole planning methodology that has to go in there, and EO Smith could maybe be plugged in, but this is consultants get paid, this is like a 50 grand project by the time you're mapping and walking the trails and doing community engagement. We could do it in-house if we didn't have all the other things to do.
Yeah, but whether it's consulting hours, UConn hours, or in-house, it's still an expense.
Right.
It's not like we don't have any opportunity. It's opportunity cost because you're overloaded now.
Yeah, no, I think maybe I'm exaggerating on the 50 grand, but I think, we just did the affordable housing plan, and that was 15, and that was a bare bones plan. And they didn't do any field work, right? So that's, we're looking at,
Yeah, I conjured up the Deep press release. The Connecticut Recreational Trail Grant Program provides funding for projects that include the following uses: planning and design of trails, construction of new trails, maintenance and restoration of existing recreational trails, access to trails by persons with disability, purchase and lease of construction and maintenance equipment, acquisition of land or easements of the trail or trail corridors, and the operation of educational programs to promote safety and environmental protection as related to recreational trails.
When you go drill down deep to the criteria and how many points you would get for each thing, I'm not sure, but I think Ken's point is well taken, that I should just reach out to Laura Giannotti and find out, ask her what she thinks. And it could be that it's a partner thing where we come in with Joshua's Trust, with CFPA, the town, UConn, and Deep, and for Mansfield Hollow State Park, and we're looking at Mansfield trails, and it's not like, where's biking going to go, where's hiking going to go. It's not a bike master plan. It's more of a trails master plan where biking would be one component and hiking would be another. And then same with universal. We need places where there should be more wheelchair accessibility. We do kind of need this whole master plan. And then where the trails connect in for more like sidewalk connections, because we have areas, so sort of like going for a walk and then walking to work, like commuting on foot type thing.
Yeah, the other stakeholders would be people.
Would be what?
Would be echoing the horses.
Yes.
Because I know Lisa Santee uses Mansfield Hollow, or used to anyway, for her riding stable.
I second that, because I was just gonna bring up that I've seen more and more horses out on the trails, you know, and just, I think it's a great idea to have a trail master plan. I guess I would just throw up a warning flag that means, you know, if we start formally, even more formally designating no bikes on this trail, then does it become an enforcement issue? So I think that needs to be a component of the plan.
Yeah.
Well, I think in offset to that, one of the elements of the plan would be to develop an outreach and educational, an ongoing outreach and educational program for the members of the university community who are primarily the ones that are really stressing our trails with bikes.
And a maintenance plan. I mean, we've never really quantified what it takes to maintain good trails, right? And so we're kind of just going by the seat of our pants. So if we're gonna, like, we have all these documents everywhere that says that, you know, Mansfield is this, people like Mansfield because of their trails, they value the trails. They're using the trails. So at some point we're gonna have to put a little money in to maintain the trails and promote the trails and all
Well,
that.
that's fraught with peril too, with the town council.
If
God
they,
forbid we should spend money.
right. So, I mean, I think we need to be honest about it, right? I mean, people can decide whether or not, the taxpayers can decide whether or not this is something.
I'm gonna hop into the way back machine. The highest attendance at a town council meeting I've ever seen was when they were receiving a Park Advisory Committee recommendation on the use of bikes in Schoolhouse Brook Park.
That Kurt Vincenti, that was like when he first started, and Kurt is famous for knowing exactly where every single file is. In fact, I called him for some information, and he's like, I need the master key to the closet. And sure enough, he pulled out the file and brought it over to me. So yeah, he gave me the file for that when he first started.
Yeah, he and Grant Meister knew where every piece of paper was that they've ever seen.
Yeah. All right, so I guess for Rec Trail program, we've taught the Southworth, connecting that Schoolhouse Brook to Southworth across 195, and kind of highlighting maybe ways to access Mansfield Hollow using public transportation. That was one of the reasons why we got the Southworth Preserve, was to somehow get people who are riding the WRTD buses into Mansfield Hollow. And then the second part is this Trails Master Plan, and whether or not we get funded through DEEP or not, it's still something that I think we need to do at some point.
Yeah, on that part, we should probably blaze the trail into Southwark from Southeast School and or the library.
Yeah.
So we can point to the connection.
Yeah.
Couple of signs, at least.
Right.
Okay. Let's see, communications, the park engagement report. I found it interesting.
Yeah, I found that came across from my email from the National Parks Association, and I thought it had some interesting tidbits, so I thought I'd share that with you.
There's some stuff to keep in mind if we want to go to the town council for something and so forth. Okay. Do we have anything else?
You have reports from members. I don't know. And then I'll give you an just update since it's a communication. I'll put under communications. CMC Stores, the golf course property, they just submitted their wetlands application that will be received at the October 4th Inland Wetlands Agency meeting. So they've just put in wetlands. We are going to be hiring an independent consultant to review the wetland application, and it will be just like Capstone Collegiate Communities and Haven Communities. So you'll be seeing that. We'll see what happens.
I'm thinking I personally should get out there and really explore if there's a way to get a connection from that property into the Wrenwood. It seemed that way when I did a while ago, but after half a dozen hours out there, I wasn't going to try to find the exact route. I haven't got there to do it. Anything else to add?
I wanted under future meetings, November 16th is your next meeting. And then I will have to be bringing to you the schedule for 2022. How is this meeting every other month? How is that working for people?
I think it works. We can always call a special meeting if we need to.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so we'll keep that as every other month then.
if we meet every other month, but reserve every month on our calendar, that gives us a slot when you don't have to poll us about a special meeting.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I'll put every month on my calendar, but know that every other month will be the meeting.
Okay,
Yeah, I like that idea. I'll save the date.
that's all I have.
Anybody else? A motion to adjourn?
So move.
We adjourn. I'll second it.
Anybody opposed? So we can, I'll adjourn the meeting formally. Ask the recording be stopped.